perspective on the kind of impact COVID-19 has brought about on architecture in terms of the style of working, in terms of the industry in itself. What is your perspective around that?
As regards the execution part, everything remains more or less very similar. A lot of equations are changing per se because on situ jobs are getting slightly, you can say, as much as you can reduce. Everybody is trying to reduce it, and therefore a lot of things are getting more modular by nature. So that if it's on site, you can do a lot of detailing and everything, but since most of it is done in the factory, then you have to follow a certain kind of a modular system. Otherwise, it doesn't work, or it becomes very difficult for the shop to manage the design. That said, apart from that, what really has changed due to COVID, a lot of things have changed per se. Laborers in cities, if you're looking at cities in India, a lot of laborers have left for their homes. So labor is a huge problem in most cities today, and which is a good thing. We'll come to that later. Problem also is even the architects have left for their homes, and most of it is work from home. So, and it's the first time architects have started to work from home because it's a very interactive profession. It's a very teamwork profession, so to speak. You may be whosoever, but without a team in this profession, it's not possible to execute or even execute, forget about execution, even to design something. There is a interaction, and due to which ideas happen, either be it with your colleagues, staff, workers. Most carpenters are very proficient to give you very fantastic advices. So even the workforce, due to they not being there, the interactivity has lessened to a very huge level. Now, interaction with the clients is also missing because everybody is standing at a distance or speaking online. So there is a gap that has started to occur when it comes to communication, because we were not a segment of people, unlike, let's say, you see a tech company. They're still very much more comfortable with this work from home scenario or distance working scenario. In our profession, it was not so. So this is a new thing for everybody. In the sense, things could get done on site just because of interaction, or a new thing could be developed on site due to interaction. But now we don't have, what we lack basically is we are not in a position to improvise. So what is done in the drawing, be it good, bad, ugly, worse, whatever it may be, we get it done. So that context is missing, because once you do whatever you design, you always will go to the site and you think, no, it should not be like this, it should change slightly, like it looks slightly better. So those interactivity equations and the result of those interactions, that is missing, which is actually fine-tuning any building or an interior or whatever you do. So that is basically missing.
What is the impact of COVID in terms of reverse migration, in your opinion?
What has happened is the cities have become redundant. The real estate has become redundant, and which is a very good thing actually. Thanks to COVID, reverse migration has happened. Let's say about 40 to 50% of the people have gone back to their villages because of lack of jobs, because most of the people are daily wage laborers, and due to COVID, all these, because of social distancing, all these kind of jobs, including construction, was drastically impacted. And most of the people have had to leave because they cannot even pay a 4,000 rupee rent for a single room house in a city. So I would say there are two contexts to this. Two contexts in the sense that what has happened is in the cities, the rental income equation has been drastically eliminated. People who lived on rental income because of this migrant population, that is no more there. Now, most of, when you say real estate functions in a city when there is income generated out of it. That is why you have an investor, or you have people investing because there is going to be a return. You may invest in a flat or a shop or an apartment block or dormitory system or whatever you want to say, because there is income through it. Now, when the migrants have gone back home, this entire income situation is finished. Generally, what would happen, a migrant would come from his village, stay there for 8-10 years, try to buy a plot in a whatever kind of a segment he is able to afford. It can be illegal area or denotified area, or it can be in the corporation, depending on his budget. Gets very enhanced due to this influx of population and workers into the city. Now, when that entire quotient has gone back, it's created a huge vacuum in real estate, because he is the end user, he is the real user. Because if you see any apartment block, an investor may invest in 10 flats, but he's not going to wait till the building is going to get done. He will invest at, let's say, 100 rupees. The moment it goes to 120 rupees, he's going to sell it off. And in the meantime, there is a buyer created. He has made his 20 bucks and he has moved out and he sold it out to the next gentleman who's coming. So this kind of a quotient of the rich getting richer is absolutely finished. Now he has, let's say, 10 flats. He doesn't know what to do with these flats. They're all lying dead vacant. Rental incomes have gone down because there is nobody who's staying there. Because the laborers don't have jobs. The good part, I would say, is due to this migration happening, the cities have become less important. When I say a city has become less important, if you really understand any city, you take Delhi for instance. We've built the metro rail, and we've been building it for 11, 12 years, whatever, right? Now it has cost the Delhi government about 60,000 crore rupees to build that metro. Now the 60,000 crores invested in a single city. I'm just talking about the metro. I'm not talking about the feeder roads, the feeder transportation. I'm not talking about anything, just the metro. It's 60,000 crore rupees. Now this is serious taxpayer money. Along with it, if you take the feeder road, you take the other kind of transportation. Let's say Delhi has been bidding for 3,000 buses. Today it can do with 1,000 buses. Today the rush in metro is literally, let's say, at least 30% lesser. So, and if this influx would have continued, we would have kept on adding and adding and adding. Like if you've seen Bombay, it has already burst its seams, be it the services, the drainage, the water supply requirements. A city goes crazy beyond a certain point because there is a limit to what you can do. You may increase your FSI to whatever, but your drainage system, you're not going to change it every day. Now, what Bombay is having is what was done long, long ago. and then you're trying to adjust and you're trying to make shift and everything. And all this is taxpayer money basically. So every city is spending something like 2 lakh or 3 lakh crore within a span of 5 years.